You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Walter on iWalter on this Wednesday. I was off for a couple days. It's December 2nd on Wednesday. Just to give some people a heads up, I thought it was last night. It was actually going to be tonight. I had it posted on Facebook, or I found it on Facebook. It was on comicbook.com, but apparently if you watch, what is it? Oh, God, I can't remember his name now. Some talk show host that's on 11:30 after the news. I know most of them are. They're actually going to show a Batman versus Superman trailer. It'll be like the first one, actually, other than on the internet, that's actually officially, as far as I know, actually shown. I think they did it with one of the other superhero shows as well. Again, I saw this on comicbook.com. And actually, I'll just look as I send it to a friend. But I should say I had texted it to a friend earlier. And I actually screwed up all the information. So, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, tune in to Jimmy Kimmel Live on Wednesday, December 2nd at 11:35, 10:35 Central, for the worldwide debut of the new Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice trailer. Here's an exclusive sneak peek, which is actually the one that I think they did show on another show. It was either Flash or Green Arrow. So, yeah, I just figured I'd just give a heads up. I thought it was last night. They said the second. I assumed they meant yesterday. They actually meant tonight. So I stayed up all night, which actually had on Star Wars Harrison Ford. So that was pretty interesting, to say the least. Apologize for background noise. Anyway, there's a couple other stories. Yeah, I'm going to have to pause for a minute. I apologize. I didn't expect it. It only happens, it's called passive aggressiveness with my parents, but that's expected. Only make as much noise as possible while you do a show. And slam doors as well, of course. Okay, I think they kind of calmed down. I think they call that perpetual adolescence, as my professor used to call it years ago. Yeah, any given age or date, age group will have this ailment, and especially in our country. A couple stories I wanted to go through. Actually, I'm going to hit this one first. I saw it on the news, on a TV when I was visiting my parents at a Wendy's up in Lansdale. It was on the live news coverage. So that happened. It's probably still going on now. It was Los Angeles Times is the best source I'm going to pick at this point. But it was about the San Bernardino shooting. There were some live updates. 14 people so far were killed, 2 suspects in custody, and 1 possibly at large. Friend did actually bring up a good point. He's kind of questioning if these people were some type of terrorist or something like that. This is the third case, I think, in the last 2 weeks to this week so far, of shooting sprees, random shooting sprees at certain places. This one actually happened again today. It says around 11 a.m. In California. At least one shooter opened fire in the San Bernardino at this center for people with developmental disabilities. Again, 14 people were killed and 17 were wounded. there is some information. Again, I pulled the source from the Los Angeles Times. I just don't trust other ones. So, yeah, live updates. Suspect shot at least one, still sought to attack, that left 14 dead. And these are people with some type of mental handicap. So, yeah. There was one that Rush was actually talking about today I didn't even know about. I'm looking because I got so many stories piled up right now. And Rush actually had some good stuff to talk about. So I'm going through. This might have been the one this is the one he was talking about. He said nobody actually mentioned this. Happened back on November 22nd. Police hunt suspects in mass shooting in New Orleans. So he said this one wasn't basically covered because it wouldn't fit the left media's what they try to aim at. Like if it's a white male, especially a Christian or Republican, then they won't have any problem or suspecting. As long as it's a white male, it's automatically be geared, according to him, towards racism and basically, you got to watch out for these Christian Republicans. They're the ones who start this. But this one, though, the one actually that happened today, I have no clue about. They really haven't mentioned much on whom it may be. But the one that was back on November 22nd actually was a black male who shot. It was in New Orleans, Louisiana, at it looked like a park, a kid's park, if I remember correctly. And there were 17 people shot there as well. 17 people were wounded, including 11 that were under the age of 21. Authorities said was on a Monday. So, it's just funny. He even asked the people on his show, have you heard about that today? Because it happened back on the 22nd. No one heard about it because the press didn't find it necessary to make public, even though there is articles on it online. They just make a big deal out of it because it was a black male who randomly just started gunfire at basically a kid's park. So it's just interesting how what is considered something that should be covered and which should not be. That was the one Rush brought up. There was actually another shooting as well. I have to pause right now. Hold on 1 second, folks. Alrighty, I'm back again. I apologize. Yeah, I had somebody actually interrupt me, which is no shock. It's actually normal. But yeah, there was a third shooting. I'm trying to think now. There was the one today. There was the one I just told you about, and there was actually another one. I'm looking through my mix of stories. See if I can find it actually. Because I know there was a third one. I just can't remember where. And if I don't have it up, I'm not going to go dig for it. Oh, okay, yeah, here was the other story. I couldn't find it. Actually, Rush talked about this. There was the one at Planned Parenthood he had mentioned today, too. This one is completely different. Actually happened. Actually, it was just the other day, I think. But this was actually a man shot up people. Again, they were trying to blame the Republicans and the conservatives for this one on a man who just randomly started shooting up at a Planned Parenthood where people also got killed there. These are separate from the one in New Orleans and the one that happened today, believe it or not. So this is kind of interesting, but they try to push it on, it's the Republicans, conservatives, pushing their story on that, they're the ones against abortion, everything like that. No, this guy was just a random whack job, so to speak. There's no other way to put it. But the media automatically, this one I think was a white male. They automatically try to push the conspiracy thoughts on the Republican conservative on this one. I'm trying to see where this one happened. I'm reading Rush's thing on this, but I'm going to see if I can actually find. I'm going to do that right now. Let's see. Actually, they're saying this might be the same one, but it doesn't make any sense. Because they said this one's in San Bernardo. Yeah, but I think this is actually a different one, because the one was at a facility for people with, unless it is, I might be stand corrected. Oh, okay, they're getting, the one from California is actually getting mixed in now with this other one. Yep, the one that Rush was talking about today, this is a separate one, so I do re-correct myself. Planned Parenthood shoot-in suspect Robert Deere could face the death penalty. That one actually happened in Colorado Springs. So you have the one in California, you have the one in Colorado, and you have one in New Orleans. All within these. The one that happened in Colorado actually just happened. Looks like possibly like 2 days ago, and the one that obviously happened today, and there was the one in New Orleans. But the only one that really got, besides the one today, which did get a lot of coverage, is the one back 2 days ago with this guy, Robert Deere, like Dear John, spelled the same way. Basically opened fire at a Planned Parenthood, and he shot and killed people there. That was the one that Rush was talking about today. I guess there's just so many of these acts of violence that, you can't keep up with them. This guy was he was basically he was a recluse. He lived with no, electricity or anything else, according to Rush. I remember him saying that today. This man just randomly shot, and he said, he was screaming out as he was killing people or shooting them that he said no more body parts. And Rush actually said, which actually brought it to his attention, the news and the media were actually trying to blame Rush Limbaugh for this guy's random shooting spree at a, Planned Parenthood, which has nothing to do with it. But they love just to make that twist. On a different note, actually, when I was listening to Rush a little bit today, at least the first hour from today, he was mentioning about Tebow and some woman he was supposedly was dating, and that she broke it off because he would not have sex with him. And her name is Olivia Kuplo. Is that right? But apparently this whole thing was just a made-up bunch of nonsense. Neither Tebow or this girl, Olivia, that he was supposedly dating, it never had happened. They were not dating. But they were just trying again to throw the digs, because Tebow is, the football player, is very religious, very Christian, and doesn't believe in sex before marriage. So they're trying to drill into people's head, or at least make them believe that she got tired of waiting for him that is basically celibate until marriage. She didn't believe in that. And again, this whole story was just made up. It was just a bunch of nonsense that was not true. Olivia is 23 and Tebow's 28. That's just interesting how, they will drive and keep on proving that the Muslim culture is beliefs are harmless and don't coincide with violence, and it's the Christians that do. But obviously, actions speak louder than words, and that is obviously not the case. Another one he brought up, they're now calling that kid who made what looked like a homemade bomb. That's a while back. That was brought up again today on his show. They're calling this kid a clock boy now. It's titled "Homesick Clock Boy Blows Up the Script," because it obviously this kid got a scholarship for some school, full ride scholarship in a very well established, I think, college in the U.S., and he had turned it down. So he was offered one in Qatar, or is it Qatar? Guitar? I forget how you pronounce that correctly. So obviously, the people responsible for this kid, I guess the people who, or his parents or whatever, decided to go to, I'm going to call it Qatar. I don't know how you say it properly. They actually left the country to go, to what I'm gathering. His name is Ahmed Mohammed. He basically was homesick to go home to Texas, where he basically is from originally, and he wanted to go home, and now the press is calling him Clock Boy because, he wants to go home. He's homesick to go home to Texas. Obviously, this homemade clock that supposedly looked like a homemade bomb was something he was store-bought. And it was obviously just to get, what do you call it, get notoriety in Texas. This kid obviously successfully did it, and I think he was put up to it. But yeah, the family his family who put him up to this anyway, because there's one part, they basically were trying to sue the school that he got accused of bringing a bomb to, which it does look like a bomb when you look at it. There's pictures on Russia's webpage. When that happened, the family was actually demanding $15 million from the city for claiming discrimination and a negative impact on the arrest. Well, I hate to say it, but, there's a purpose for profiling. When a kid brings a suitcase with a homemade clock that does look like a bomb that he never even made, it was basically some clock you buy at Radio Shack, and he put it in a suitcase and said, I made this homemade clock, but why do you put it in a suitcase? And it wasn't a homemade clock. It was something he was store-bought, which was discovered later after that. But it was just a way of the family obviously getting money from the school and just trying to, set up the school and accusing the school of him being racially profiled, this kid. So he was offered, I guess, some type of, I assume, again, don't use my source of information as your, main source. But the bottom line is it was in overseas, so obviously the parents accept it, moving to this other country, which, like I said, I can't say the name properly. Rush had actually said it correctly today. My brother was actually stationed there. My one brother was in the military. He was actually over there for a while in Qatar or Qatar, however you say it. And that kid was basically his family and stuff were given the opportunity to get a scholarship from that country, and the kid wants to come home now. So I kind of find that as an amusing, but now the press is all over this kid and called him Clock Boy, and basically they're basically telling the truth for a change, which I don't blame the kid as much as I blame the parents of setting this kid up for this fallacy of bringing what looked like a homemade bomb to school just to get money, and using the race card, for their ethnic background to get money from the school and from the county, which it actually, I hope it fails or backfires on these people. I mean, this kid was just set up, so hopefully he even learns his lesson that you can't even trust your own parents. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm sorry I did botch up that story. Now, here is something I'm going to have to change off a little bit because those are pretty deep stories, even if they're completely screwed up the way I read them. A friend sent this the other day, my friend Todd, where it says, shameless man asks 100 women to have sex with him. Downright, it's like one of these random things just to make a story. what was surprising is the guy was like a decent looking guy. He was actually a really good looking guy. And out of 100 women he had asked, all different shapes, sizes, backgrounds, ethnicity, or whatever, all 100 women had turned him down. Honestly, there was a few that were actually considering it, which I give him credit because the guy was a good-looking guy. So here's the funny thing, which actually shocks me a little bit, but they did the same thing with this girl doing the exact same thing. She was good-looking too, asking 100 guys for sex in a social experiment. Now, hers actually, surprisingly, this is where I was surprised, there was, I think the final stats were 76 guys turned her down and said, no way. And about more than a handful, actually. I'm trying to look for the final stat. I'm pretty close. Because I'm looking at it was on YouTube for both of them, by the way. Okay, 30 said yes and 70 said no was the final thing with the girl. So she actually did obviously better. She was very attractive. I was surprised for the guy. But yeah, he was not a bad looking guy, but yeah, he got 0 counts. I thought he had a couple, ones. It's just a social experiment. But yeah, he got 0 and she got 30. But the thing that was surprising, I thought she would get a lot more. But yeah, she actually had 70 guys who just basically downright told this girl, like, yeah, this is a little weird. No way. So obviously there's guys who are probably concerned about catching some type of disease is my assumption. Some type of STD. So I got to give those guys kudos. I don't know. I probably would go for it because she was very attractive. But it was just funny that there was actually some guys who turned it down. I had to just kind of break that up because here's another story from Daily Mail. I'm going to read this right now. This was the other day. Dog dies after driver drags it behind his car on a chain until it collapses from exhaustion. Now, this actually happened in China. And it says warning graphics. I mean, I usually don't give many stories. I'm not much of a dog lover. I'm more of a cat lover. But this was so pathetic that it even actually got pulled on my heartstrings because it said the dog was dragged behind a pickup truck by its neck. And again, in China, the unidentified truck driver tied the hound to the vehicle with a metal chain, and the poor exhausted animal was unable to keep up and died from its injury. So the guy deliberately chained the dog to the back of his truck and dragged this poor thing for miles until the dog finally gave up, and it basically was just dragged. Basically probably broke its neck too, I'm sure. But it is pretty sad. People in this time, in this time of our world, I guess. Lighting up a little bit again. I'm going to swap off again. There was a funny story a friend sent me from uprocks.com, and it was on Carrie Fisher, where it says Carrie Fisher was asked to lose weight again for Star Wars on The Force Awakens. So that film has got to be tied up. So I don't know when this exactly where he found this, because it does say December 1st, 2015. So that movie had to be done by now. But it says Carrie Fisher herself outspoken about how she was treated on the set, sharing that she was ordered not to wear a bra and to lose 10 pounds from her already slim 105-pound frame. So she really did lose a lot of weight for this movie because she got pretty big. She got like pretty much round, no other way to put it. And she actually got herself down to 105 pounds, and they asked her to lose even more weight yet, another 10 pounds on top of that. So that's pretty sad. I mean, I understand she's small, but that's probably almost unhealthy. I know they always say film and, well, actually TV puts on 10 pounds. I don't know about film. I guess that does too. I don't know. By the way, I think I mentioned before that I saw Harrison Ford on a talk show last night. Jimmy Kimmel. Is it Jimmy Kimmel? I think it was. I'm going to double check because I have it here in my thing. Jimmy Fallon, actually. And he actually looked really good for his age. He looked really damn good. And he was definitely being funny. I got to give the man credit. I hope I have that much enthusiasm and energy as he does at his age, simply because he looks really energetic. He acts very youthful. There's nothing wrong with that. Make the most out of your life. Don't act your age in some ways. I mean, yeah, you should act mature, but don't act like you got one. I have friends that do that, who actually put one foot in the grave. Oh, he's already like climbing into his coffin, my one friend. And you can't do that. You got to basically take every day to its fullest. I'm not telling you to act like a child, but I'm saying you should enjoy life to its fullest. I'm being a hypocrite about that, I know. But treat each day like it's the last day that you're going to be alive. And I think people should do that. Anyway, my friend actually sent me something. I thought it was really cool. It was actually really funny. It's that one Asian guy who, I think he did that other video. I can't remember. That was really funny. Anyway, I think it's the same person. I can't remember the other name of the video. It's on the tip of my tongue. He's really funny, though, if it is the same guy. But it says PSY, and he's got a new song, if it is the same guy, Daddy. And it is really, really funny. He plays like he's playing like a father, a grandfather, and a little boy with his face superimposed on these different things. And it is like the funniest thing I've ever seen. So let me see, PSY. I think it's the same guy. Gangnam Style. Yeah, that was his other song he did, was called Gangnam Style. So now he's got one that's actually just as funny. It's actually more funny than Gangnam Style. And it is called PSY. I mean, that's his name, PSY. No, it's called Daddy. And trust me, I would say definitely check it out. Thank you, Todd, for that one. It was really entertaining. He did it as a joke about my father. That's another story I got to tell you. But he's actually really good. It was funny because for Christmas, I bought my dad, he doesn't know it yet, a iPad mini. It was on sale at Walmart. It was $70 marked off its initial price. Still cost $200. It's the basic one. It's only 16 gigs. And I figured it'd be great because maybe it'll keep him busy and I don't have to hear him talking and complaining about how to make more money and how hard off he has it being retired. So I figured I'd get that. My mother convinced me that she'll give me half the what it cost me to buy it once I get the bill, because I opened up a Walmart card because that's what was on sale. So anyway, I also had upgraded a while back my Apple TV to the newer one, and I hooked up my old one Apple TV in his room, and I upgraded his computer. Now I gave my parents, both of them, these Mac Minis. They're rather expensive. I had those years ago, but they were still like $700 a piece. I didn't buy them both at once. I got these years ago. So one I gave to my mother. She never uses it. I gave one to my dad. And he either boasts about how great it is, or as of today, why I'm bringing him up, he was complaining about how he actually he was ready to smash it because it wasn't doing what he wanted it to do. So, you're talking between, the one is actually the Mac Mini that was actually called the Server. I don't think they make those anymore. But there was a Mac Mini Server. That one was actually, back when it first came out, retailed for $1,000. The other one is around $750. So you give something like that to my father, something that expensive, and he threatens to smash it. So obviously that makes me not very happy to hear that. So me buying this iPad Mini makes it even worse, honestly, on me, because I'm like thinking, okay, if this is the way you're going to treat stuff I give to you for free or as Christmas gifts, And once you take a temper tamper and you just want to throw it and smash it, that makes me a little uncomfortable. So anyway, this Mac Mini, which he hasn't gotten yet, I told my mother tonight, I said, you know what? I'm probably going to consider maybe returning this if that's the way, or even though I don't want to spend that extra cash, I may actually consider, because I went through Walmart's extended 2-year warranty where it covers everything, water damage, accidental damage, blah, blah, blah. The only problem is you got to mail it in to a third-party company to get it fixed, and I don't trust that. Now, it was only $50, but you know what? If you have to ship it back, I really don't like that. So I told my mother, if I do decide to keep this gift for my father, I will put out the extra money and get him what's known as Apple Care. Or if you have a problem, you can just take it to the Apple stores. We have, I think, 2 in our local area, maybe 3 actually. We have one in King of Prussia. I think we have one in Montgomeryville, and we have one in Willow Grove. I know we have at least 2, Willow Grove and King of Prussia, where it might cost double the amount, but if he does take one of his temper tamperings and he does smash it, I can easily take it back to the store, and maybe with a little convincing that I'll say, listen, hey, this got accidentally damaged, which it obviously won't show that, and I can just get it swapped out for a brand new one for absolutely free. So I'm actually considering doing that. If he does smash it, he won't get it back. I'll just keep it and give it to somebody else, or I'll just keep it for my own, but I probably end up giving it to somebody who would be more appreciative of a $300 gift, the iPad mini. So that's why I had to bring that up. You know, it's just amazing. And I actually got my father hooked up for my parents, for both of them, on the one set they have in the house that has HDMI connectors, which is in my father's room. So I hooked that up, this Apple TV, and it was kind of interesting, but he was like asking me every 5 minutes, how do you get this to work? How do you get that to work? Well, the problem is, though, folks, he actually thought that, like I told him, okay, this is the stuff I've already paid for. Like I have Netflix hooked up on there for him and a couple of the free networks. Apparently, CBS charges you to hook that up on your Apple TV. They charge you a fee, which I said, forget that. But NBC does not. So you can watch all their TV shows for free on your TV through the Apple TV setup, which is really nice, actually, because it's high definition, too. So I was doing that with a new show I actually really like. I got to throw a plug in that direction. It's a show called Super... now I got to look it up. It's like a Super Retail or something with America, who used to play Ugly Betty. NBC. I was going to do this. I think it's actually called Superstore. It is really funny. If you work in retail or if you ever have done so, I would highly recommend this show. Yeah, America's in that, and some other people, but America, I really adore her. I used to love her on I know I'm sidetracking now. I really adore her in Ugly Betty. That show was like really good. But the cast and crew are excellent. Unfortunately, the thing that's going to be a downfall of this show, it's not officially starting till January. So they showed 3 of the shows already this year. What is it? 3 of the episodes, they're only a half an hour apiece. Now, it's the same people who did the American version of The Office, but the show is very politically incorrect, to say the least, which I love about it. Yeah, there's some really good characters. Honestly, that show is incredible. It's really funny, too. But again, it's because I'm, about all about political incorrectness. So I would recommend it. I saw all 3 episodes. They did a 2-hour special on NBC. They said it's not going to launch officially until January, which really sucks now because the show is really funny, I thought. Again, my reason behind that. But yeah, I'm going to keep that on the back burner. But I was watching it last night. I kept on getting disturbed by my father, though, who kept on asking me, how do you get this to work? How do you get that to work? But he was actually on, if you've ever seen Apple TV, they also have rental movies or movies you can purchase. Well, he assumed that was part of Apple TV, so he's clicking on all that stuff. One was that movie Ted 2, and I said, I hope you didn't click that, because I said every time you click a movie and you purchase that comes out of my bank account. So it's not bad, and it's bad enough that he's already got HBO, all the HBOs at home. He's also now has access to my Netflix account where he can watch over thousands of movies. It wasn't good enough for him last night, so he actually had to click on and start looking at films or movies that were actually technically rentals or purchases you have to do on Apple TV, which comes directly out of my bank account. So, kind of concerned me about that with him too. So I'm just griping on my show. That's what it's for. So I am actually doing that. Hey, a friend sent me the story. It is kind of really funny. On New York Post, he sent this yesterday. It says, married couple are so fat that they've never had sex. And they both look like they weigh about 600 pounds apiece. This married couple. They're Asian couple. Yeah, they really are. I was not too far off. It said the Chinese heaviest persons at 538 pounds. The woman weighs 538 pounds, and the guy weighs just as much. They're a married couple. They are extremely overweight, and they've never had sex because they're just basically too fat. They're too big. They'd crush each other. Well, they probably couldn't. But, yeah, I was pretty close. So they weigh over a ton, I guess, between the two of them. Not even kidding. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. They said combined weight. I was a little off. Nearly 882 pounds between the two of them. And the girl in this marriage, she weighs 538 pounds. So he actually weighs less than she does. But they both look like they're about the same size, but she actually weighs more than he does. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting couple. I don't know how they met. There's some pictures up about that too. So already, hey, you know what? This is in my mix. I was actually happy because on something I actually like was I like The Flash. I love The Flash. I haven't finished out the first season yet. I really enjoy Supergirl. I think that show is awesome. I bought all 3 seasons of Arrow so far because when they were on sale at Best Buy for like $10 for a season, I'll buy them, And I've done that. So, I haven't bought them all at once. I bought them like every time they put them out, they do, we're marking it down on DVD the whole season for $10. I've been buying them that way. And then figure later on I'll watch Arrow because I heard that's a really good show. I like these. I know they're very kiddie shows, I'm sure, by most people's standards. But the age bracket, even on Supergirl, actually is up to age 50, I think. 18 to 50 or 52. I'm only 48. So, I'm in that age bracket for once who are watching these shows, believe it or not. Now, that could be a bad thing, I understand. But anyway, they said they're going to do a crossover show with The Flash and Supergirl. They're not doing it right away, but it is going to definitely happen. I was actually kind of ecstatic to hear that. I was kind of actually very pleased. Because I love Supergirl. I think that show is really cool. We got a good cast and crew. Certain people on that show I didn't realize are actually British too. This is one guy who plays, she is some type of, some sort of her boss. He's this black guy who is works under this special task force thing that Supergirl helps out with. And this guy, I heard him in an interview, and he's like British. It's like that's the big thing now. A lot of these TV shows hire Brits to do a lot of the American characters on these TV shows. But the thing I liked about Supergirl, I've never read it, but I look them up as I see them, and they did the same thing with The Flash. I'm sure they do the same thing with Green Arrow, I should say. I said Green, but it's actually Arrow. they take these villains right out of the comic books. And I think that's what makes these shows so strong because, it seems like that whole geek comic thing is really big. So the person obviously incorporated that into these TV shows, and that's why they're doing so well, Green Arrow. But yeah, they're asking eventually, and I thought this would happen. It would be probably part of the Super Friends type thing. They were saying on this one article from Movie Pilot, would they actually consider doing, I guess, a threesome of teaming up Supergirl, The Flash, and Green Arrow, which is part of your network or your setup for the Super Friends. It's Superman. I'm sure, the fact that Supergirl is doing so well, much better than it had, initially did. It wouldn't be a surprise if they actually bring all three together, which would be really cool. I mean, you watch these shows because you kind of want to leave, that's the whole purpose of shows. You don't make that your life, I understand. But you watch these shows just to kind of, leave reality for a little bit. You need something to kind of take your mind off of work and everyday life. And these shows are definitely, they not only do it, but they're very entertaining, I think. So that's just my opinion. So unfortunately, I got some nasty stories again. So I'm just going through my mix. Dreamin' Demon, it said two sisters. I thought this was a case a friend had sent to me, but this is a different one now. Two sisters charged with trying to strangle mother with computer cords on Thanksgiving Day. So this was on the Dreamin' Demon again. Yeah, this was in Willowick, Ohio. And it says police have arrested two sisters after they said the duo used the braided computer cables to strangle their 56-year-old mother on Thanksgiving and trying to smother her with a pillow. I don't know what's going on with people. The mother, Jennifer Barnes, 23. The mother of Jennifer Barnes, 23, and Joanna Barnes, 24, called the police to their home on Thanksgiving asking that they check on her mother, two daughters. She didn't tell them what had happened, but basically they were trying to kill her. So, yeah, I don't know. That is one problem we have in today's society. I mean, it's one thing trying to act, like you've never grown up, so to speak, but you can do that in a way that you still take responsibility and not take or blame everybody else around you for your situation. But now it just seems like you have to be a complete, I like to call it a complete woman child, a complete man child, and you don't grow up at all. You just blame everybody for everything, and you don't take any responsibility. My professor used to call it perpetual adolescence, the best way to put it. There was another one on Dreamin' Demon where this guy accused of beating his wife, stepson to death with a baseball bat. Not only just a regular baseball bat, but an aluminum one. Beach Park, Illinois. Police have arrested 47-year-old, looks like Armando, after he allegedly beat his wife and 14-year-old stepson to death with an aluminum baseball bat again. Yeah, I don't know where these people, how they, once again, how they are able to procreate. That's why I enjoy that show, going back to that Superstore, because there's one part in the thing that America actually says to this guy who buys a cheap costume jewelry ring for $10 as an engagement ring for his girlfriend who works at the same store. And she says, basically don't procreate. And it was like so funny how she just gave that line. It's like, please don't procreate. It's something on that line. But it was just the way she said it was really funny. And I see stories like this. It just makes me wonder how these people actually do that, procreate. Oh, there was some bogus story on comicbook.com. I'm going back to that because that's my next story I have up. And it got me going for a minute. It was actually today they posted this. Neil Patrick Harris open to playing the Riddler in the Batman movie. You know, it would be the standalone movie after Batman versus Superman that Ben Affleck wants to do. He wants to do actually 3 of them. And it basically, he never admitted to wanting to do that, Neil Patrick Harris. It was just a way of making a bogus story of all things. Yeah, he's not going to do it. He was honored that he was offered a part, but, you know, why make a story on something you have no concrete evidence? It was just a way of making a story. So, I don't know what he has planned. I mean, Ben Affleck, I'm not too fond of a lot of his acting and most of his stuff. There's certain things I do like him in, but as a director, the man's incredible. He's like super intelligent. He knows how to make a good film. He's not, you know, bad at that aspect. You know, I'm more of a, what do you call it? As far as it goes with Ben Affleck, his friend, who did, The Martian. I'm more of a fan of his acting. I think he's a better actor, actually, too. So I'm going to look his name up. Sorry. Even though I can't spell. Alright, I found it. Matt Damon. Yeah, I think Matt Damon's a better actor, but I think Ben Affleck definitely has under wraps. He knows how to direct a good film. He's very smart with that. The man's not dumb. I think he's going to do an excellent job, though. I'm taking that back for a second. I think he's going to do a really good job with Batman. I just feel he feels very promising in the part. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, a friend, thank you, Todd, again. He had sent me something from Conservative Post. It shows where it's a video on conservativepost.com. World leaders refuse to shake Obama's hand, and it actually shows that they will shake. I guess it's the French president's hand, but they refuse, and they make it very obvious they don't want to shake Obama's hand. They're just not happy with him. There's a story follow-up on something political, not with Obama, but something that England is going to be stepping in. Let's see if I can find out real quick. And I'll go back to that story too. Oh, yeah, it was on the Daily Mail. I'll just throw this in, interject this really quick. It says, it was actually mentioned today, Britain will bomb Syria. Tornado fighter jets to launch attacks on ISIS strongholds within hours after MPs back air strikes by 397 votes to 223. So that will happen as of today or tonight. They are going to be starting. England is stepping in on basically bombing the ISIS stronghold in Syria. So they're actually now finally making a move. The only one who hasn't so far is the U.S. Obama tries to play Mr. Nice Guy and saying that these Muslims are just being victimized, or these terrorists. They're just pure victims. And, you know, England was doing that for quite a while, but they actually finally wised up and they are now stepping in. So going back to the other story that my friend Todd had sent me, yeah, it says this short video, this was the one from Conservative Post, not from the Daily Mail, which I just mentioned. This short video shows how major world leaders reject Obama. Watch how President Barack Obama extends his hand to greet these leaders, and all of them refuse to share it, you know, basically shake his hand. Did he deserve this? Well, absolutely. Is he ruining America's reputation around the world? Yeah. So thank you, Todd. That was a very good one. The other one you can see that just went up today on the ISIS count. Todd sent me this story. I was kind of actually shocked because different story. This was on Us Weekly. Rush actually read a story from Us magazine himself. Well, this one says, Holland Taylor and Sarah Paulson have been dating for how long? And the one girl, the woman I mentioned, she plays on American Horror Story. She's been on almost every season so far. And actually the second up until now. And I think I didn't know that. I didn't know she was gay, but it was Holland Taylor. She's very cute woman, but she's 40 years old, and her significant other is Sarah Paulson, and she's 72. Yeah, it says a source tells Us Magazine Holland. Oh, okay, I got it wrong. Actually, Holland Taylor is 72 years old, and it is Sarah Paulson, who's only 40, from American Horror Story. She was the one who, in the second season, she played, I think, a reporter. Right now, she plays a prostitute in the new American Horror Story. She played the two-headed woman in last season's Carnival, whatever you call it, of American Horror Story. I did not know she was gay. I just kind of think this is probably a nice tabloid piece just to lift her reputation. That's just my personal opinion. But it says, a source tells Us that the Holland 72 and Paulson 40 have been dating for at least 6 months after a relationship is after months after, and the relationship is getting serious. I just kind of question it. I really do. She doesn't strike me, of being that way. I think a lot of this stuff is just to, again, it's just a way of, what do you call it? I can't think of the right word, just to get publicity, as to say the least. So, Todd, thank you for that, because I was kind of short on stories tonight anyhow. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, so I'll probably leave it go at that. I want to get my stories done, before the end of the night. So hopefully you enjoyed what I've mentioned. I try to keep it a little bit, as much as possible, entertaining. Unfortunately, my amount of people that listen to me right now at this present time is no more than 15, possibly 10. So that's probably one of the reasons I don't do. And plus, I don't have a lot of material right now because I haven't been at work for the last 2 months. So most of my stories used to always revolve around work, and there's not much of that going on. So my complaining or my situations have been kind of filtered down. Hey, on a last note, actually, I did forget about, I wanted to mention, it's interesting because I don't really play that many games, but there was some game that I got for this Xbox, which I own, and it's actually called Zombie. It was actually originally designed for the Wii U, and yeah, it's actually I'm trying to think of the right word. It's a zombie game, yes. But the game is actually really, really good. I actually got stuck because I wasn't playing the game properly. But they put it out for the PC, which I don't have, and they also had placed it or put it out now for, I'm trying to think, they also put it out for the Xbox One. Now, you can't buy it in stores, which kind of sucks. The game's only $20. But the thing is, that makes the game interesting is you play multiple characters. You don't play just one character, you play multiple characters. Like, if your character dies, then you're automatically switched to a new character, and you lose anything like you gained, like weapons and stuff like that. So the game, the thing is, I didn't learn at first. You have what's called a safe house. And what the safe house actually does is you're supposed to, if you collect weapons and stuff, you're supposed to basically unload your stuff in your safe house. So if your character gets killed, if you don't save everything in the safe house, you're going to end up basically losing all your weapons and stuff. So if you have in the safe house now, in this place you store all, any unnecessary weapons, you can go back and actually, you won't be basically left empty-handed fighting against zombies. So it's pretty clever on doing that. Unfortunately, I am so bad with this game. I think I killed, at this point, about 30-some people under my watch. Now, the interesting thing that makes the game even hard, which, you make the game either easier or hard by just how bad you are, which I am really bad. So that being said, it was kind of funny because every time a character of yours gets killed, you will come back as a different character. Your character gets killed, gets changed to a zombie. So the bottom line, if you got killed like I did 38 times, unfortunately, you're going to have 38 of your predecessors coming after you because not only do they get killed, they come back as zombies. And if you don't kill your predecessors off, they will accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. So eventually you end up having a handful of your, previous lives coming back to kill you. That being said, it definitely leads to say at least, a very entertaining game. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I made it so difficult to play that I'm probably going to end up to start all over again with the game. But yeah, I would say I would recommend it for $20. Unfortunately, you have to download it on your Xbox, I guess your PS4, whatever, which obviously means that you won't be able to return the game if you don't like it. So it's either a win or loss. I'm just mentioning because I am not a big fan of video games. I got games I bought because I do have an Xbox One, but I usually just use my Xbox One mainly as a media hub. So once in a blue moon, I feel like, okay, why did I buy a console when I don't use it as a gaming system? So out of guilt, I guess, or boredom, as one friend would put it probably, I'll just buy a game. And most of the time, I'll buy games over the past 2 years here or there, and I never play them at all. So this game I actually was playing, the one that I was playing for quite a few hours. So I already got like pretty much a good chunk of my money out of playing the game. If you play the game for a couple hours, it's not a total loss. If you don't play the game at all, then it's basically a waste of money, the way I look at it. But yeah, it's called Zombie, but it's without without the E, I guess. Let me look it up right now. It's basically in London, takes place too. And, if you don't play it right, it will become very difficult to play. Unfortunately, you don't get a physical copy. You only get one. Yeah, it says it's on Steam now too. Xbox One, PS4. And and then originally it was called Zombie U. It's pretty much the same game. The graphics kind of remind me of the game, which was really fun to play back in the past in the arcades, because I used to actually go to arcades after they were pretty much dead to play this one game, and it looked like a very outdated game at the time it was released, called House of the Dead. So if you're like House of the Dead, this is a lot more complex though. But it was originally called Zombie U, Zombiu. So for the other releases, for the other systems, it's basically without the U, because U was for the Wii U. It was their launch game, believe it or not. The game, if you like those type of games, Left 4 Dead, or the other zombie kind of games, it is definitely on that game. The thing I like about it, it's not very graphically intense. It will once in a while if you screw up enough like I did. So if you keep up with your kills on the zombies, you're fine. If you do not, like I didn't, then you're going to be basically have more zombies than you can handle, and you will get killed quicker and quicker each time that happens. Again, I'm ready to relaunch the game because I did make a couple mistakes. I played the basic normal level, which Starts out very simple if you keep on top, but if you do not, again, it gets physically impossible to play, which it actually has at this point. But it's pretty simple. It doesn't try to overwhelm you. That's not their whole gist. They try to keep it pretty low key, which again, I don't have a problem with. I honestly don't at all. And it's plain fun to play. So there's been a couple times I've been ready to throw the console through the wall, so to speak, because it gets a little flustered. But again, if you play the game correctly, it's not bad at all. It's actually pretty fun. And it kept my attention for more than 5 minutes, which any game that does that is definitely one worth buying. And again, it's only like $20. So, folks, I did mention that. Now, you have to forgive me. I've been losing my voice. I've been having a lot of sinus pressure, and I think I overdid the medicine and actually tastes blood almost. So I think I weakened my internals by taking all these different types of prescription sinus medicine and over-the-counter drugs that you take through basically through the mouth. So, folks, just think it's not less than 3 weeks, 2 weeks away until Christmas at this point, I guess. Let me do a double check on that. God, I forget when Christmas is anymore. Let's see. We got this week that's almost over. So if you include this week, it's 1, 2, 3. Well, it's about 4 weeks away. Otherwise, yeah, I was correct. If you don't include this week, which was a rather short week, it's actually 3 weeks away until Christmas. So everyone, again, I'm definitely signing off now. Hope you enjoyed what I was doing. And, I'll see when I'll be back again. I'm not making any plans to be back tomorrow, but if it happens, it will. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed what I mentioned, and I am signing off for tonight's show. iWalter on Wednesday nights, December 2nd at 8:47 p.m. my time. Thanks a lot for listening if you are. Alrighty, folks. Have a good night.